fiction one of the characters?
Which one?
Come on. Well, I was actually curious about the using all black characters in the white roles and how that was to do that transition and what that felt like and how that came about in terms of.
You want to talk about that from the script to begin with? Sure. Well, that's actually stipulated in the script. Lydia is very clear that that's what the casting is, and she's also very clear that anyone that in the cast that plays a white character also plays a black character as well. I wish that she were here because she does a whole spiel about it. Like, these are my 3 reasons, and I can only think of 2 of them. Maybe you guys can fill in the 3rd one. But I know the first thing that she says is that we're so used to thinking in terms of like contemporary race politics having to do with color. You know, that you instantly go to it's about color. And she wanted to really underline the fact that it's about power, it's about money, it's about gender, it's about a much more complex kind of oppression than you see if you're able to simplify it in a way if you see it as being about color. There's a sort of heart-stopping humanity to this casting, I think, that's really smart. The second thing she talks about is that it's impossible in the 3-week rehearsal process, which is what we had, to Allison said, and a half. It's impossible to overcome the race politics that exists between us as human beings in contemporary America. You know, imagine if instead of rage we had a 6-foot-tall white man. You know, you would have a really different response when you saw him approaching her, and I would have had a really different time directing that scene. And the actors would have had, you know, like 5 years of therapy before, like to go through a 3-week rehearsal process to make this kind of acting possible. So, I mean, you know, I'm being a little melodramatic, but it's a challenging thing that we deal with when we try to tell these kinds of stories with more traditional casting.
I'd be interested to hear what kind of effect seeing an all-black cast playing multiple races had as an audience member. Does anyone have any thoughts about that yet?
Well, I thought it was very powerful. I guess I was thinking about what it's like to play this before a largely white middle-class audience. When I was I guess I'm interested in hearing the way you sort of saw this as not about color particularly, because I saw it a lot as about a mirror, through my eyes, of white privilege, white male privilege, in fact. So I wonder how this play is differently received by a multiracial audience versus a white audience. Whether, I wonder, even when Lydia Diamond was writing it, was it sort of, by playing a white powerful character with a black actor, was that sort of a confrontational kind of thing to do to challenge us as a white audience, or was it? I just wonder how whether she anticipated that, given who goes to theater in America in 2000 whatever.
That's a really good point. I actually think it's taken on something really interesting here with this audience that I don't know that it had, playing to essentially audiences of young audiences, which were mostly audiences of color in Chicago. So the play wasn't written to be performed for this audience. But I think that Lydia, yes, I think she intended all of that, you know, on some level. I think we all have, one of the things that this casting allows, to my mind, is for us all to come to it fresh and have a really authentic, new, powerful response to it, as opposed to seeing a picture that we've seen over and over. And it gives you, it just brings you to it new in a way that it's actually really, at our dress rehearsal, I went, oh my God, you know, forgotten what we were doing, and I saw it again. And I don't know, do you guys have another answer to that question?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's also something to be said that, and I think Lydia alluded to this once, but I mean, I know a little bit about the Chicago acting scene too, and there's a way in which, you know, we talk about theater as a whole, and I mean, black actors don't always get work, and black actors don't always get to be in ensembles like this. Like, I feel so blessed to just be a member of an all-black ensemble playing these roles. And I think that what's so great about the play is that it changes every day in terms of the audience response, because on Sunday evening, we had a really very integrated audience. I think I remember that it was a group of black actors, and we were playing the white actors because it's a story. Like, we should be able to tell the story from that perspective. So we're putting on these white gloves, and it is tapping into white privilege, and it's tapping into race in a way, but I'm always coming back to, wow, like, we're an all-black ensemble telling the story. So that's what I feel is also really powerful.
One of the things that I think it does for me is it allows the gender issues to come out a little more prevalently. One of the legacies of Harriet's book is that she talked fairly frankly about the sexual exploitation that was happening and amongst slaves, and it was rampant, but in many ways it was and is still overlooked in history. And having an all-black cast, even though you know that they're playing white characters at certain points, to me, it downplays the race and plays up the gender politics.